Hey you guys, it's me, KTB, and today I'm going to be doing another book talk / topic, and today's talk topic is 10 book romances that I just love. And if you know me, I kind of regularly read romance books, but I also don't fall in love with them as easily as I could, because quite a lot of the time they don't feel right, or they fall in love too fast, or it's such a drastic shift in personality just to kind of accommodate the fact that they've fallen in love, that it just doesn't feel believable. So it was very hard for me to find ones that I did kind of remind myself that I did have ones that I loved, and then go about putting them on a list and saying these are the definitely ones that I love. And this list will likely be updated at some point as I read new books, obviously. So let's get into it. The first one is Cassie and Dean from the Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. They are so alike, but they're a little bit opposite as well. So because they get into people's heads very easily and they kind of understand their behaviours and stuff, they can profile people really easily, really naturally, so to speak. And because they've got a very similar natural ability, they kind of learn together in the Naturals Academy, but they're different from each other because Dean gets inside the murderer's head and Cassie gets inside that of the head of the victim, and that's where they kind of are different, and they are so lovely together. I fell in love with them, and I know Jennifer Lynn Barnes put in a love triangle in the second book more predominantly than the first, but I could tell it was going to be going that way, and it wasn't really necessary because you could tell she was going to go and choose Dean, and that was the way it was going to go. And I just fell in love with them, that if it had gone the other way I would have been a little bit annoyed, to be honest. Yeah. Next one is Callie and Kaden from the Coincidence series by Jessica Sorensen, and I fell in love with this couple partly because they were the first couple of Jessica Sorensen's that I'd come across, and I absolutely love Jessica Sorensen. I've got so many of her books on my Kindle that yeah, it's kind of, I've got a collection of Jessica Sorensen books which is ranging in the 30s. I have about 30 books of hers on my Kindle, and yeah, I love her stuff. And these two were the first in her books that I read, and I fell in love with them, which led me to read other books of hers because I loved the way she put two characters together and how natural their love was, which is always really important to have when it feels really natural. And yeah, so I fell in love with them, and then I fell in love with so many other characters of hers later. But I didn't think it would be fair if I put a whole list of Jessica Sorensen books on romances that I love, because that would just be a bit I'm going to be putting more of her romances on other lists as well. I've got another one later on, but on this one, but I'll probably be putting other ones on other lists that other kind of romances I love lists, topics, talks, videos, so watch out for them. Next couple is Dex and Darcy, who are the romantic couple in Something Borrowed by Emily Giffin, and I love this couple because they'd been friends for a while. They met in university, and then they kind of were friends for a little while through university, but they kind of studied together. And then Dex met Darcy, who is Rachel's best friend, and they got engaged, and they've had a several-year engagement relationship. And then obviously Rachel spills the beans that she was in love with him that whole time, and it felt so believable, and so it didn't make it seem like insta love, even though we kind of come into it right near the beginning of their relationship, really. So, and it kind of starts off near the beginning of the book, but it didn't feel insta lovey, and it didn't feel like it was kind of like, oh, I've bumped into this man, he has abs, he has great hair, I'm gonna fall in love with him now. It felt like they'd been friends for years, and that Rachel had actually loved him for years, which is really good and really important to me for falling in love with romantic characters, or characters that are supposed to be in a romance together. So thumbs up to Dex and Rachel. Next couple is Luna and Gecko from Mind Games. I absolutely love this book. If you know, as you probably know, because if you've watched my Mind Games review, I loved everything about this book. It ended perfectly, and oh yes, they were kind of, he introduced her to this whole new world, and it opened her eyes up to kind of grow as a character, and that was because of him, and they just worked really well together, and oh, I love them. It's such a shame about Dangerous Games, because I read that one and it just took everything back from Mind Games ending, and oh, such a shame. But on to the next couple. I said there would be more Jessica Sorensen, and here there is. Ella and Micha from the Secret series by Jessica Sorensen, and I loved them just like I loved Callie and Kaden, but obviously there's a special place in my heart for Callie and Kayden, because they were the first ones of Jessica Sorensen that I kind of fell in love with, and that paved the way for Ella and Micha. And yeah, they kind of touched me in here as well, because it felt right, it felt natural, they just fell kind of very slowly, and throughout the book it just kind of built, and I loved it. I mean, obviously there'll be attraction at first, but it felt like attraction instead of insta love, and instead of, oh, I'm gonna fall in love with him, rather than, oh, he looks pretty. But yeah, yeah, I just love them. I love Jessica Sorensen, you can probably tell. Okay, next couple. Darcy and Ethan from Something Blue, which is another Emily Giffin book, and it's a sequel to Something Borrowed, and as I mentioned in my review of it, it takes place directly after the ending of Something Borrowed, but from Darcy's perspective, and you kind of see her go over to London, make some mistakes in love, and ultimately start falling for Ethan. And they've known each other for a while, because Rachel was best friends with, or rather still is friends with, Ethan, and so Darcy kind of knew him from there. It was, yeah, it felt natural, it felt right, and because she had been kind of experimenting and going out with someone else, it kind of made a bit more sense that she'd kind of be going, hang on a second, this isn't the kind of guy I want. I'm staying with Ethan in his house while I'm falling in love with, well, not falling in love with, but kind of going out with this other guy, and this other guy doesn't feel right. And it was this epiphany that she goes through, and I was just like, oh, I love this. This is amazing. Emily Giffin does romance well. I like her romances. Okay, next one is David and Cara from the Elemental series. I loved this romance because it was kind of a very slow burn, because whenever Cara goes back into the human world, she loses all her memories of the angel realm, and as such she loses all her adventures with David, but she kind of also gets the opportunity to date him because it's kind of illegal in the angel realm to date another guardian angel, and so they kind of get the opportunity to date in the human realm, and then she remembers all of their dates when she next goes back, and I just love that kind of counterbalance of her kind of getting to be an action hero and then going back and getting to have a relationship with the guy that she's kind of falling in love with really slowly and wanting to be with. And I just love them together because it took so long to really kind of fully develop their relationship, and I loved it. So they're on my list for that reason. So next one, Christopher and M/Nikki Howard, because they started their relationship properly when she was kind of in the body of Nikki Howard. So yeah, and they're two characters in the Airhead series by Micha, and I love them yet again because you can tell that their friendship has been going on for years prior to the start of the books, and then because of the surgery that she has, she loses that friendship that she had with him and any potential relationship she could have had, so it kind of makes her want it more, which is really understandable. And yeah, I just love them together and who they are and how they're kind of both very independent people, but they just want to be together because they want to be together, and which is so lovely. Yay. And then the next one is Rosie and Don from the Rosie Project by Graham Simpson. I love this romance because Don isn't the usual romance character protagonist, because obviously he's a bloke and we're not usually in the bloke's head when we're going through romance novels, and B, he's very set in his ways, and he is kind of so hell-bent on finding a romantic partner that is very, very similar to him. And then he comes across Rosie and they go on adventures, and he slowly but surely kind of falls in love with her, and he doesn't know that that's the feeling that he's feeling until right at the end, and it feels very, very natural, and it feels just right. It feels right, and I love them, and I love their relationship, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to the sequel because because the sequel's out and I want to read it. Final one on my list is Claire and Henry from The Time Traveller's Wife. I just love this book overall, and I love the film, and I fell in love with them, and they were so perfect together. There was no doubt in my mind that they were meant to be together, and such a beautiful book, so well written, and such a perfect couple, and I loved them. I absolutely loved them. So yeah, that's my 10. If you've got different ones that you love, romance couples that you love, put them in the comments below. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you are new around here, please do subscribe because it does help. And I know you probably kind of don't really hear it don't hear it so much at the end because everybody does it and everybody asks to subscribe, but we do want you to subscribe when you say that at the end of videos, so please do hit that subscribe button. It really does mean a lot. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.